Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today I am bringing you a portion of my April TBR. I have been falling behind pretty badly when it comes to my reading. I've just had a couple of really rough months in terms of like other things going on for like mental health and just it being gross and horrible, and now the sun is coming out. It is a beautiful day out and I'm feeling a little bit more inspired to read instead of just lay about on the sofa scrolling through my phone. So this is going to be a really big reading month for me. We're keeping our fingers crossed though, and I would really like to catch up with a lot of the arcs and proofs that I have been sent by publishers, as well as some of the books that I've bought for myself. I have some books that have been arriving from subscription services and things like that. So I have talked about a lot of stuff that has been on my TBR that is going to be carried over. You can see my January and February and March TBRs for some of those books, but I wanted to talk about stuff that, as far as I can tell, has not been on any of those TBRs thus far. I wanted to talk about some new things instead of just bringing up the same books over and over and over again, because I didn't end up reading them in previous months. So this is going to be a very extensive TBR, but I'm not going to be showing you everything. What I'm going to be doing is picking out 6 highlights from my TBR and telling you about the stuff that I really want to read. I fully expect to have read some different things by the time April comes to an end, but fingers crossed all of these will be in my April wrap-up. So first up is my biggest priority. That is Sister Song by Lucia Holland. This is a retelling of British folklore. It comes out on the 1st of April, so I'm not going to be able to read it in time for its publication date, but I would really like to read this soon because it sounds so good. So this book follows 3 sisters who are the daughters of King Cador, and he is sort of the ruler of British lands that have been abandoned by the Romans, which gives you an idea of when this book will take place. So all 3 of them are quite different. We have Riva, who can cure others but can't heal her own scars, Kian, who battles to be seen as the king's son, although born a daughter, and Xian dreams of love and a longing for adventure. So all of them sort of fear a life being sort of held behind the walls of the Hold, which is their people's last bastion of strength against the invading Saxons. However, change comes the day that ash begins to fall from the sky, bringing a magician and meddler, and the siblings discover the power that lies within them and within the land. And fate also brings Tristan, a warrior whose secrets will tear them apart. So we've got a web of treachery and heartbreak, we've got sisters, and we have a story that will shape Britain. This sounds great. I'm really excited for this. I recently did a video about retellings, and this is one of the books that I had in mind when I said I'd maybe do another video later on when I've read some more, because I have a ton of great retellings on my shelf. This is one of those books, and I'm very excited to read this. So I think when I kind of clear out some of the books that I'm currently reading, which you may have seen in some of my vlogs, this is going to be the one that I tackle next. Next up, we have a book that came out in March. This was the March Goldsboro SFF book, and it's one that I would love to read. It's actually another retelling, and it's a Dark Cinderella retelling, and it sounds so good. So this is Shadow in the Glass by J.J.A. Harwood. This is like a dark gothic Victorian twist on Cinderella. So in this book, we follow a girl named Ella, who wishes for more of a life than that of a lowly maid, which is what she currently is. So she is forced to work hard under the unforgiving, lecherous gaze of the man she once called stepfather. So her only refuge is in the books that she reads by candlelight, secreted away in a library she is not permitted to enter. So one night, her kind of dreams come true. A fairy godmother arrives and offers her 7 wishes, whatever she wants, and she can have joy, opportunity, comfort, or even love, and they're finally within her reach. However, she learns that each wish comes with a price, and Ella has to decide whether or not it is one she wants to pay. This is a book that I've had on NetGalley. I actually wished for it from Harper Voyager and ended up getting it, and I still haven't managed to read it yet. I've only just been able to pick up NetGalley books again because I had the whole e-reader issue with my headaches and stuff like that, but that's solved. But then this showed up, so I'm definitely going to be reading the lovely, lovely hardcover edition of this book. I'm really excited. This sounds so good. Next, we have two books from Orbit that are both coming out on the 15th of April. The first of those is The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. I have not read any of their books before, and I have heard that I would absolutely love them. So I think Witchmark is the first in their other series, and this is something that is brand new. This can be very, very easily summed up as Bridgerton, but with magic, which sounds amazing. Bridgerton stressed me out too much. I couldn't watch it. I was in a really high anxiety phase at that point, so I'll probably go back to it, but it was something I really enjoyed. I love historical romance and I love fantasy, and combining the two will be amazing. I really, really love Stephanie Burgess's Harwood Spellbook series, which I talk about all the time. I will not shut up about, and this seems like it's going to have some similar vibes. So in this book we have a character named Beatrice, and she is a sorceress who practices in secret. She wants nothing more than to be a mage. However, she doesn't really have that option because her family is deep in debt and she has to get married. So she discovers a grimoire which may have the answers to all of Beatrice's problems, be the key to making her a mage, and in order to sort of get help, Beatrice summons a spirit, but her new ally demands a price. Beatrice's first kiss with the sorceress's brother, the handsome, compassionate, and fabulously wealthy Ian Levan. That sounds great. This sounds like so much fun. I can't wait to read this. And I really, really, really want to dive into more books like this, kind of the historical romance meets fantasy, so if you have any recommendations, let me know. The next book that I have that comes out on the 15th of April is one that is maybe a little bit more serious than The Midnight Bargain, but sounds absolutely fabulous and is also beautiful. So this is a book that combines Hungarian and Jewish history with fantasy. This is The Light of the Midnight Stars by Raina Rosner. In this book we have three magically gifted sisters who live deep in the Hungarian woods. So we have Hannah, who is bookish and calm and can coax plants to grow even when the weather is bitterly cold, Sarah, who is defiant and strong and can control the impulsive nature of fire, and then we have Levana, the Fey One, who can read the path of the stars and decipher their secrets. However, a darkness is beginning to sweep across Europe and threatens the life of every Jewish village, and these sisters have to make an impossible choice to survive. This sounds so good. I'm really, really, really looking forward to this. I think I have Sisters of the Winter Wood, which is Raina Rosner's first book, or at least previous book, and that sounds like it has Hungarian or at least Eastern European history in it as well, and both sound fabulous. I've been meaning to read that for ages, but I'm definitely going to be picking this one up first, and if I love this one as much as I think, I'm going to be going back to her first book. The next book that I have comes out in May, but is also part of the 6-week turnaround time thing that I've implemented. I talk about that in my most recent vlog. This comes out in mid to late May, and I'm very excited. This is The Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky. In this book we have this alien species called the Architects, who 80 years prior nearly wiped out all of life on planet Earth, so humankind is rebuilding. And as part of that war, humans created these kind of super soldiers and honed their minds into weapons to be able to communicate with and fight the Architects. And our main character, Idris, is one of those people. However, since the war has ended and the Architects have disappeared, he's not really needed for that work anymore, so he's kind of seeking refuge on a mining vessel and sort of staying out of the way. So while he is on this vessel, they make a discovery and they find something that could only be an artifact left behind by the Architects. Now, does this mean that they are coming back? Are humans in danger? And who will kill to obtain this thing that they have found? This sounds so good. It's part of a new space opera from him. He is probably my favorite sci-fi author. I absolutely adore his books, and I am so hyped for this. And the last book that I have to show you is another part of that 6-week turnaround time. This doesn't come out until July, but it is one of my most anticipated books of the year, so I will take any excuse to read it early. This is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is a historical fantasy novel that is based on 12th century China. So in this book we have a brother and we have a sister. The brother is destined for greatness. The sister is pretty much destined for the absolute opposite. So in their poverty-stricken village, bandits attack and sort of wipe out everything. The brother begins to sort of succumb to his despair, but his sister decides she is going to seize her brother's destiny. She takes his identity and she starts this kind of epic journey to greatness. This sounds so good. I don't know a huge amount about it, sort of plot-wise, but I think it's going to be one that I absolutely love. I love historical fantasy, and I know the Poppy War was not historical fantasy, it was fantasy based on history, but it's giving me some of those vibes. It sounds like it's going to be a very brutal book, and I'm totally here for it, which is probably terrible. So those are 6 of the books that I am planning to read in April. Keep your fingers crossed for me. I would really, really, really like to catch up on my reading because I have been struggling lately, but I feel like I'm starting to bounce back. I would love to hear in the comments below if you have read any of these books, if they are in your TBR, or if you have anything that you are planning to read in April. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time.